If you're a psychopath like myself and enjoy monitoring the NBA draft 9 months before it actually takes place, you might have actually noticed something different about the 2022 class. Whether you look at names like Chet Holmgren, Jaylen Duran, Paulo Banchero, or AJ Griffin, there seems to be a rather interesting shortage of a valuable commodity in the NBA. I'm going to give you guys a second to figure it out. That's right, folks, there's barely any guard listed. The 2022 NBA draft has an extremely good chance to be the first class since 2006 to not feature a guard selected in the top 5, and honestly, the way it's shaking out, I wouldn't be shocked if the first guard selected in next year's draft falls outside the top 10. Gone is the draft of Cade Cunningham, Jalen Green, and Jalen Suggs. We now turn to a new draft cycle, new players, and really, a whole new ballgame. This is the year of the Giant. It goes without saying that the big man is one of the fastest evolving positions in basketball. Remember 5 years ago when slim 7-footers with good-looking jump shots like Dragan Bender and Kristaps Porzingis were all the rage? Now, one is out of the league entirely, and the other has probably been the most negatively scrutinized player in the last few years. Rudy Gobert is one of the most impactful players in the NBA, but his lack of creation skills offensively still angers fans across the league every postseason. The ideal modern NBA big can do everything now. Protect the rim, switch onto smaller players, space the floor, and facilitate to teammates if need be. It's a demanding role, yet one big men are expected to do each and every night. The same goes for wings. The ball skills needed to survive at all positions has never reached a greater threshold, which makes this guard-deprived class all the more fascinating. So who is leading the charge for the year of the Giant? Let's dive into some of the names you guys should know heading into the 2022 NBA draft cycle. The two big names to know are Chet Holmgren and Paulo Banchero. Holmgren has been on radars as a potential number 1 pick for the last few years now, and while his frame may not scream number 1 pick, his game tells an entirely different story. A 7-foot unicorn, yes, an actual unicorn, not just some big guy who can shoot, kind of. Holmgren has a rare blend of size and fluidity with the ball that is pretty much unseen in basketball. Holmgren spent his prep years at Minnehaha Academy, which is the same school as another guy you may have heard of. And like that other guy, Holmgren is also going to Gonzaga to spend his likely lone year in college. Chet projects as exactly what the NBA wants from a big. In terms of basketball skills, Holmgren might be the most complete 7-footer we've seen in years. He can shoot either off the dribble or off the catch. He has great passing vision and is often seen initiating offense due to his advanced handle. He can protect the rim defensively with great timing and length, and he can also be viable in switches as that aforementioned fluidity carries over to the other end of the floor. Where Holmgren might struggle is his frame. He's only a meager 195 pounds, and honestly, he looks like that guy from Nightmare Before Christmas. Despite this though, his lack of bulk hasn't really seemed to hurt him in terms of production, so it'll be worth watching how he fares at Gonzaga. The other guy you should be monitoring pretty heavily is Duke forward Paulo Banchero. Banchero is a menacing 6'9 or 6'11 depending on who you ask, with fantastic ball skills and elite athletic explosion. He already has the frame to hang physically in the NBA, while also being quick twitch enough to forecast him as being a wing in the league, as his flashes of shot creation are enticing enough to project favorably moving forward. Banchero grew up near Seattle, where he played for O'Dea High School and averaged 22.6 points, 11 rebounds, 3.7 assists, and 1.6 blocks per game, winning the MaxPreps National Junior Player of the Year award. He opted out of his senior season due to injury and COVID restrictions, but he showed enough to be ranked a consensus top 5 prospect in the country. He also comes from an extremely athletic family. His mom, Rhonda, played basketball at the University of Washington and left there as the school's leading scorer, and his dad, Mario, played football there as well. Those are the two names that carry the torch for this year's class, but there are other giants worth noting. Yannick and Souza from the Democratic Republic of the Congo is an extremely rangy 7-footer with awesome physical tools on the defensive end. And Souza moves like a gazelle in transition and has shown a real ability to switch onto smaller players in space. He played for Unicaja in Spain last year, and while the numbers aren't particularly jaw-dropping, and Souza has shown enough flashes for teams to buy into his long-term potential as an elite rim protector and play finisher in the NBA. There's also Nikola Jovic, that's a V, not a K, who at 6'10 has absolutely tremendous ball skills. He lit up the FIBA U19 tournament this past summer, averaging 18 points, 8 boards, and 3 assists per game, while also being named to the event's all-tournament team. Jovic is extremely silky with the ball in his hands as he can finish through contact well and get off the ground fast to be a transition threat and a solid weak side rim protector. He's not the most explosive guy, but his scoring touch and feel for the game will make him a name to watch this year at Mega Basket. Roko Percation was a name many people liked in the 2021 draft, but he decided to withdraw at the last minute and test his luck in 2022. The 6'9 forward from Croatia has done really well in a tough Adriatic league for KK Sabona as a versatile shot maker with good defensive instincts. Patrick Baldwin Jr. is an elite shooting prospect who at 6'10 offers extremely enticing flashes of self-creation. I see a ton of similarities with Michael Porter Jr. of the Denver Nuggets as a guy who uses his size to create shooting windows that few other players can. Baldwin will spend his college career at UW Milwaukee to play for his dad in the Horizon League. Jaylen Duran is a 6'10 big man who is built like a truck. Seen primarily as an interior big, Duran does a great job at using his strength to get easy buckets and prevent them on the other end. With an expanding perimeter game, Duran is seen as a top 5 recruit in the country per 24/7 Sports, and that's with reclassifying to this year's group to attend Memphis under Penny Hardaway. Jabari Smith is another 6'10 stretch 4 who will be attending Auburn this year to play under Bruce Pearl. He shows great instincts as a help defender, as you will often see him blocking shots that should be way out of his range, and he also has an insanely promising face-up scoring package and great feel for the game. Caleb Houston is a 6'8 combo forward with one of the more reliable shots in the class at this stage. His solid size for a wing makes him an extremely enticing option for a team hunting for that versatile player who can guard multiple positions. He flashed his NBA-ready 3-and-D game at FIBA U19s where he averaged 17 points and 5.7 rebounds a game, and at Montverde Academy where he shot 38.6% from three-point range last season. AJ Griffin might be the most mysterious number 1 pick candidate in this year's class. The son of former NBA player and current Toronto Raptors assistant coach Adrian Griffin, AJ took his senior year off to recover from an ankle injury among the COVID-19 pandemic. He has the physical tools needed to be a top pick come June, as at 6'7 he is an ideal size for a wing who already has NBA level strength. He has a fluid pull-up jumper and is a fantastic athlete, but his shot needs to go in more if he really wants to be an extremely impactful pro. Griffin is heading to Duke to team up with Paulo Banchero in what should be the most exciting front court from an NBA draft perspective in college basketball. And finally, Peyton Watson was a late bloomer in this year's class, but boy did he bloom. He was listed at 6'4 heading into his junior season, but he is now a lean 6'7 with phenomenal guard skills. He's a smart passer, rangy defender, and emerging creator who will add to an already loaded UCLA team this season. This class is loaded with plus-size prospects, and this is the year of the giant. Still, there are 3 guys who I could see disrupting this big man dominance at the top of the draft. First off is Jaden Hardy. Of the guards, Hardy probably has the best chance of stealing the number 1 pick spot this year. He's a creative and confident shot maker who has that potential to be a dynamic primary creator if his overall passing vision improves. He might have the most fun highlights to watch in the class as he will pull from pretty much anywhere, and he's not the most explosive athlete, but his overall knack for getting buckets will get him some looks from teams at the top of the draft. Hardy is playing for G League Ignite this year. Another Jaden here is Jaden Ivey. Ivey is the son of current Notre Dame women's basketball head coach Niele Ivey, and despite growing up about 15 minutes from Notre Dame's campus, he went to Purdue. Still not over that, by the way. Ivey really came on late as a freshman at Purdue and started to emerge as the Boilermakers' best player heading into this season. He needs to get a lot more efficient, but his performance at FIBA U19 suggests he's improved a lot. He averaged 12 points a game on 48.6% shooting during the competition and made several monumental plays for Team USA down the stretch. He was also named to the All-Tournament team, helping the United States win a gold medal. My wild card of this year's class is John Monterra. A dazzling 6'2 playmaker from the Dominican Republic, Monterra will be suiting up for Overtime Elite this season, a new program dedicated to making high school players more ready for the NBA. A year ago, he played for Gran Canaria's second team in the 3rd league in Spain, where he averaged around 18 points, 6 rebounds, 4 assists, and 2.5 steals per game in 24 appearances. It would serve him well to become a more consistent shooter since he's always floated around that high 20s, low 30s percentage mark from distance, but still, Monterra is a fun and creative player, and I'll emphasize that more than his inefficiency at this point. In a game seemingly dictated by guards, the class of 2022 is gearing up to be a drastic change of pace from years past. We all know that time is a flat circle, and we could be witnessing a changing of the guard when it comes to who runs the NBA. Maybe we see the re-emergence of 90s basketball, who knows? but with classes like 2022, the magnitude of this shakeup could be giant. Sorry for that. Give me your thoughts below.